Hey guys, I just wanted to bring to you the mind-boggling near-death experience of B.J. McKelvie. B.J. died and was sent to outer darkness, which is mentioned in the Gospels. This place is also known as the Void in peer-reviewed medical journals. If you guys would like to learn more about this very real section of hell called outer darkness or the Void, the link is in the description. Without further ado, here is B.J. McKelvie.
Take us back to that time in your life. You had such a bright future. Well, you still have a bright future ahead of you, but things on the outside couldn't have looked better. You were doing, the career that you loved. You had a great job lined up, and yet you were so tormented by depression.
I was about 21 years old, and I had just come out of college and had a great career ready to go. I didn't tell anybody I was depressed. I didn't know.
Right.
I was in our summer cottage, and I had a sore throat, so I went to this family doctor, and on the wall was a list, and on this list it had all these things. If you have this symptom, and it was as long as my arm, and I said, I've got all those. So then you're dealing with depression. So I told the doctor, and she gave me some medication. I still didn't tell anybody that I even had the medication, that I was dealing with this. So I went back, and it was in our summer cottage, and it was a couple of days later. And it overwhelmed me. Because I was a proud person before, kind of mocked people, with depression. I said, just pull it together. So I was really embarrassed to tell anybody. So it was that night, a couple of nights later, it overwhelmed me. I decided it was very spontaneous, but I decided to take all these medicine. I didn't want to live anymore. So I got up.
21.
21. And I got up and I said, well, I'm going to take these pills. I'm going to take them 2 at a time, and I'm going to take only so many, just enough. I don't know where I got just enough from. I do now, but I was going to take just enough. So, because if they put too many will make me sick. Right. So I'll take just enough so they can't pump my stomach.
No, you're very serious. This was not a suicide attempt.
No,
You were very serious.
I was very serious about it. I didn't want to live anymore. And so after that, I laid down after I took these pills, and nothing happened for about 20 minutes. So then I got up, and I found some more prescription pills, sleeping pills that were there. And I took those 2 at a time, and I took just enough. And then I remember laying down, and the last thing that I said, because I believed in God, didn't know Jesus, but I believed in God. I said, Lord, I actually didn't say Lord, I said God. I said, God, please forgive me for what I've just done. And then I went to sleep. And that was the last thing I remember, was saying that. And suddenly, I guess to preamble the story, my mom, I was supposed to start a new job the next day. My mom got up, and in the morning an alarm clock was going off, and she found me laying there, and I guess I was kind of gray and blue, and I guess I had left a note, so she saw the note. And we were probably 60 miles outside from the nearest hospital. So they got me in the car, and they took me over to this country doctor, and she said, you need to get him to the hospital right away. He's in bad shape. By the time we got there, they tried to perform CPR on the way down. They couldn't. My jaw had locked. And when I got into the hospital, the first time, I guess my heart had stopped. And they got me back, and then the second time, they didn't get me back. My heart had stopped again, and said he's too deep. He's gone. At the time, they were telling my parents that. Suddenly, I appeared. If I could, just appeared, and I was looking at a sink.
That's your next memory after saying, "God, forgive me for what I've just done." Your next memory is standing in a hospital room.
Yeah, I remember I appeared, and I was looking at a sink. And it just kind of appeared, and I said, what? And I started to look around, and I realized where I was. And a nurse kind of blew by me, and I thought, boy, she was rude, because it was like she didn't even see me. She just rushed right on by. And I looked over, and I could see my brother and sister run by, and I could see my mom and dad. And they were looking, and I realized who was in the bed. It was me. And just as I saw myself in the bed, I saw this black diamond form under the bed, and I went over and I went down, and suddenly it was pitch black, It was totally, there was no ground, there was no sky, there was, if you could imagine nowhere or nothing, that's where I was. And when I was there, it took me a little bit to realize what was going on. And I looked over, and it was almost like I saw a window. And on the other side of this window, I could see my parents, and I could see my family, and they were still there. And all I wanted to do at this point, I have a hard time getting through this point, I wanted to get to tell them, I didn't mean to do this. I'm so sorry. Because I realized that it was real. Where I was real. The only light there was when I held up my hand, and I could see my hand, and that was the only thing I could see. So there was no ground. I was nowhere. And I went to walk forward, and I couldn't. And I wanted to tell my parents, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do this. And then the window started to fade away. And as it faded away, I knew that this was forever. I've talked to other people that have crossed that line, and they get that sense of eternity. And I can't explain, but it was eternity. And I heard this angry, angry, angry voice, suddenly vicious. It was huge. This voice was, and it came from behind me, and I turned, and I couldn't see it. And it said, those who commit suicide go nowhere. It said, you're not getting a second chance. And I thought, this is real. I'm here, and I've done it. And then this, I can't say torment, like there weren't flames or anything, but the separation. I knew I wasn't going to be able to see anybody ever again. I was so alone. And it was horrific, just this separation. There was no physical pain, because I couldn't feel anything. But it was this mental, of being so alone and knowing that I was there forever. And then this voice came on. It seemed quite a while went by. This voice came on again. It said, you're not getting a second chance. It was still angry. And I turned, and I still couldn't see it. So I finally said, okay, I've done it. I'm here. And I said, I might as well accept it. And once I started to accept that I was there, I realized that I was there for a long time. And then suddenly, just as angry as this voice was, and mad, it was so gentle. It was so kind. And it came back and it said, you're not getting a second chance, but a new beginning. And then my next memory was I woke up in the hospital with my sister at my feet, and that I had a new beginning.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, please click on the near-death experience playlist in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, which is also linked in a pinned comment below. And please don't forget to like and subscribe for more near-death experience content.